Hey there, I'm Tori with your hometown station weather. A mix of sun and clouds today with highs in the low 60s. More of the same for tomorrow. Overnight tonight, mostly cloudy with lows in the 40s. The St. Clair Lenten Fish Fry is Fridays through Lent at St. Clair's in Canyon Country. Meals are dine-in or take-out, and proceeds benefit local charities and families in need. For more information, go to hometownstation.com.
Welcome. What a great day here in Southern California. KHTS 1220 AM and 98.1 at home with Charlene. I love this show because I learn so much every week about real estate, finance, mortgages, money, and I get inspired. Today, Charlene, wow, I don't want to give it away. I just want to tease the audience. So if you're driving and you have a chance to get home in about 5 minutes, we have one of the great leaders in the Western United States, one of the most successful businessmen in the world, on our show.
I'm excited.
Yeah, and you brought him.
I did.
And you bring great guests every week.
I said, can you come? And he said, of course I can.
Every week. We haven't had a show where we haven't had great guests.
Yeah, we've had a good run. We got to keep the run going.
We're on Facebook Live. If you go to KHTS 1220 Facebook, Cody's with us. He's my producer on all my shows. Tomorrow, can I do a cheap plug for my sports show tomorrow?
We'll let you.
We have a Laker on for the whole hour.
Really?
Yeah.
Do we know which Laker?
Yes, I do.
Are you going to disclose?
I'm not giving it away. No,
okay.
It's a tease. So let's get back to your show, At Home with Charlene. I always like to start every week with the interest rate. What is it this week?
Yeah, we're still hovering around the mid to high fours. We're going to probably see that consistency throughout the year. It's just the trend. The trend is set in this direction. And, I was reading something the other day. They did a quick statistic, asked 100 people who were looking to purchase in 2018, if the interest rate were to increase to 5%, would you still purchase? 94 people said they were going to still purchase. So that's a small amount that said they would not purchase if the rates hit 5%. So I don't think it's going to affect us.
But I'm just telling you, ladies and gentlemen, now don't wait. I'm just telling you, every eighth of a point is like $50 with the average of our real estate here. So
yeah.
Waiting is not in your best interest. All right, we're going to get into the show called At Home with Charlene. The mortgage company that you run the branch here is CSMC.
Yes.
CSMC Mortgage, which stands for
Customer Service.
Right?
Yeah.
And I remembered your number. Ready?
Let's hear it.
805-304-604.
You like the 604
I
part.
love the 604. If you're looking for a mortgage that All right. Tell me about your guest.
I'm excited about our guest because I think this is a great opportunity for everyone listening. This isn't something you want to just, get out of your car, tune off. You want to stay connected for the whole hour we have today because you don't want to miss any of the information we're going to share. It's my privilege to introduce John Syatt with Century 21 Evereston Troop. He's a partner owner for Century 21 and a highly established partner and owner of Century 21, a great inspiration to many people, and are just really excited to have you on the show, and we welcome you to the show, and thank you for coming.
Of course, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah.
Because it's 80 degrees, and what is it back home?
Well, the last time I checked, it was 32 degrees and snowing, so it's winter.
Yeah, you have to pack one outfit to travel in, and then the rest for here in California.
That's exactly right. But it's easy here in California because it's a tank top and a pair of shorts.
Right. And when my family comes to visit from the East Coast, they're in shorts and sandals, even if it's 50 degrees here, because it is great weather to them.
50 degrees is warm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're acting like it's freezing.
Which is interesting. I mean, it speaks to the idea that we really get acclimated with our surroundings, whatever they are.
So honored to have you, John.
Thank you.
I want to make this show fun and inspirational. America needs what you have to say. So my first question is, were you born with a silver spoon in your mouth? How did you reach? At one point, your offices were number one in the nation for Century 21. I don't care if you're number one in the street playing stickball or chess or number one of anything, especially in such a competitive world as real estate, is an unbelievable accomplishment. Tell our audience, thousands of people in Southern California, how'd you get off? How'd you get this thing off the ground?
Well, and thank you for the question, because I think it's a fun story to tell. I was born in a very small town, raised in a town of 1,000 people. And so you ask, was I born with a silver spoon in my mouth? No, we couldn't find a spoon. We couldn't afford the spoon. But the fact is that I grew up relatively poor. You know, you look back at your childhood and you say, I wouldn't trade it for the world, because I wouldn't. It made me who I am. And I think most people would say that, regardless of the challenges. My dad, an ex-convict who spent 3 years in the Utah State Penitentiary. It's interesting because I'm in the business of helping people live the American dream, which is to own a home. And I can tell you, from the time that I was born to the time that I graduated from high school, I did not live in a home. What I lived in were trailers, and it was a home, so to speak, but it wasn't what we would consider to be a traditional home. And of course, there's nothing wrong with living in a trailer, but it's certainly a different experience. I remember telling Coach Ron one time, an individual I was talking to, about how I grew up, because they had asked the same question, and I said, well, I remember the first one that I lived in. It was a travel trailer. It was 8 by 14, and my dad overheard the conversation, and he walked up very quickly to correct me. And he said, no, it's not true. And I said, well, wait a minute. I know it's true, because we have pictures, and I remember moments in that trailer. And he said, no, it was a trailer, a travel trailer, but it wasn't 8 by 14. It was an 8 by 16. So I stood corrected. But, you know, I would say somewhat humbling surroundings. Went from that small town to wanting to get a college degree. Ended up doing that. Was the first person that I'm aware of in any of the generations that at least my parents or grandparents were aware of to get a formal education like that. And then wanted to become an attorney. And so I got accepted, fortunately, to law school. Went off to law school for 1 year. This is what's interesting. I ended up in this business of real estate by accident. It was not something I intended to do. I finished that first year of law school, and they sent me a letter, and they said, if you intend to stay in law school, you should probably average something greater than a D. It was kind of an invitation to get out of law school.
Let's back up just a second. How, growing up, we grew up similar, but how did you, I wasn't as good a student as you were, how did you stay focused through high school to even qualify to get into law school? What, was there something inside of you? Was there some...
what drive?
Yeah.
You have to have a drive if you come from an environment of such.
Well,
you have to have something deep down inside that's really making you go that extra mile.
Well, this is what's interesting, and you've asked a very good question, because it speaks to what I think
Charlene or me?
Both of you. Yeah, I'm going to give credit to both of you.
Cody, start keeping score of who's asking good questions. Cody Komar, producer on KHTS 98.1, our wonderful guest, one of the owners of one of the largest Century 21 offices in the country, listening to his life story, because, ladies and gentlemen, some of you out there have a similar experience, and you can go from where you are to where you want to be. Correct, John?
That's right. I believe that it doesn't matter your lot in life, where you've come from, what your experiences have been, that you can achieve what it is that you want if you will simply believe and then, of course, act accordingly.
So what drove you? Charlene's question, what drove you, even in high school?
Well, it's ultimately what drives any person of success. It's passion, and you have to connect to it. I remember as a child that I was very backward in the sense that I did not like to have conversations with people. I was very shy. I was introverted. And I was very much like my mother was when she was a child. But I remember her saying to me, she said, John, you will not be like I was. And so she worked very hard to make certain that I would look people in the eye, that I would have a conversation with them. In fact, she went to the point where I remember moments where she would give me the money for groceries, and she would have me go into the local store owned by Bruce Ware. It was like, if you remember the general store in House on the Prairie, the Olson's Mercantile, it looked like that, literally. It was that sort of a town. The wood floors, you'd walk in and it would creak. It was one room. And I remember terrified because she had me go in there to buy the milk, the eggs, the bread, and so forth. I had to have a conversation with Bruce Ware. And I can tell you, he looked like a human Shar-Pei. He was horrifying. And I remember that she was certain that I was going to learn how to communicate. But really the pivotal moment was this. I was home. I was 13 years of age. I was watching TV. And I was flipping through the channels. We were fortunate enough at that point to have a TV that had a remote. And I came across a program on PBS. And I didn't know who the man was. I didn't know the program. But I watched this man interview important people. I knew they were important because of the way they spoke. I don't know what they were saying at the time. I had no clue because they were using words I did not understand. But it was affecting me. It felt very powerful. And I could tell that they were people of power. And as a result, I watched the entire program. Well, when I finished it, I looked at the TV guide to see who that was, and of course, at the sign-off, they gave the name of the program, so I looked it up. Well, the program was Firing Line, hosted by William F. Buckley. And some people might remember that name. He was for many years a broadcaster. He had a program.
Journalist.
Mm-hmm. He was also an author, wrote over 50 books. He was also heavily involved in the conservative movement. Many consider him to be the father of the modern conservative movement, really helping the Barry Water campaign, and then ultimately Ronald Reagan. He and President Reagan were very good friends. It was at that point that I recognized the power of the spoken word, of what it can mean if an individual is willing to reach out and look another person in the eye and to speak with confidence, not with arrogance, but with confidence. And it's not about helping yourself, but about helping other people. And so as a result, at that age of 13, I started to read the dictionary, the thesaurus, and anything I could read to understand words and language. And so, I know for a fact, growing up in that small town, I had a hard time with subject-verb agreement. It was we was. It wasn't we were. And dangling prepositions, I didn't even understand what that was. But I really focused on mastering the language. And I don't think that we can ever master anything, but we can certainly pursue that. And so I've really worked at that and made that a pivotal part of what it is that I do, so that I can share a message that hopefully will resonate with people and get them to maybe change.
You're listening to At Home with Charlene, with a tremendous guest. Our whole show today, Charlene, is about inspiring you to do better in your life and to have a winning life. I never talk about money. I talk about winning in your life. And for me, winning is putting that little cute head of yours on the pillow every night, or handsome little head, like Cody Como's head, and knowing that you created value for yourself and value for the rest of humanity. That's you don't have to be rich to do that.
No, and I think there's probably a lot of people in the world who don't think that they're capable of doing something, and they probably don't think they're capable of making a change or a difference in somebody else's life, but you don't know personally how many people you influence because they're not going to tell you on a daily basis. But I know I'm influenced by Coach. I know that I'm influenced by you because you are influenced by people who have been somewhere you haven't, because it drives you to be a better person. It drives you to see outside the box and see where do you go? Where's your points in life that you can be successful at? Mine aren't going to be the same as yours or John's, but mine are going to be different. But you're going to think in that perspective when somebody else brings the forefront of where they've been. John probably doesn't know that your story, but you have very similar stories.
We do.
In that you struggled, in your early years.
As a foster kid.
And you really did something. You could have gone in the opposite direction, but you chose to go in a different direction. That just means it's possible for anybody to do that.
Thanks, Charlene. Thanks for doing this show every Tuesday at 2 o'clock. I'm not kidding you, ladies and gentlemen, we have great guests that not only inspire you, but once in a while you can learn something. Charlene is the #1 lady in mortgages, maybe in Southern California, but certainly here in the Santa Clarita Valley. Even Cody Como's thinking about taking a mortgage out, and he wasn't even 2 months ago, but now he's close to taking a mortgage out. Interest rates right now still are at an all-time low. Don't hesitate. Call 805. 805, that's right, 805 area code, because she had that number for years. 304. 604. You can watch us on Facebook. We're live right now. Did you Utah State, BYU, any school like that? Where'd you do your law? Where did you? Where'd you realize D wasn't a passing grade?
Yeah, it was actually, it was definitely not. I attended my first year of law school in a school in Birmingham, Alabama. It was Cumberland Law School at Samford University.
Yeah, no Cumberland. So John mentioned something that, Charlene, you and I talk about all the time because your vocabulary is awesome. Powerful words can hurt you, but they can make a life for you too, can't they, John?
Absolutely.
So keep going on your story. It's a great story. You grew up in a trailer. At age 13, you listened to a radio or NPR show, and all of a sudden you start studying vocabulary, words, so that you wanted to be able to communicate much better. So keep going.
Well, so here was this kid who was 13 years old and was really an introvert, but had discovered the power of words and became really obsessed with figuring that out because I saw what impact you could have. And so I started working on that. And I had a friend who in 9th grade said to me, are you excited about high school? And I said, well, I guess. And he said, well, I've enrolled in this class called forensics. And I said, well, what is that? I hadn't discovered that word yet in the dictionary. And he said, well, it's a class on debate. And I said, well, what's debate? And he said, well, it's about argumentation. I said, argumentation? I like that. I said, I want to do that. He said, well, why don't you sign up for the class? So I did. And I pursued that. I pursued the art of argumentation, of making a case, defending your case, and persuading judges. I ended up becoming the debate team captain. And I have to tell you that prior to doing that, my grades were consistently somewhere hovering between a C and a D. And that's the truth. But once I discovered something that I was passionate about, it was interesting how my life transformed. It wasn't just that I became more effective at communicating. Everything that I did improved, and my grades went from being D plus C minus average to I graduated with a GPA of 3.5, which for a kid who was possibly on his way out of high school, not in the traditional way, but being asked to leave, ended up graduating with honors. So it was a fun experience, and it's something that I know that others can do, but it speaks to finding your passion. It speaks to figuring out what it is that touches your heart, your soul, the core of yourself, and connecting to that and acting upon it.
I want to continue this incredible story. Our guest, pronounce his last name, Charlene, quickly.
Syatt. John Syatt.
You're listening to
KHTS 1220 live.
98.1 live, and the show is called At Home with Charlene. We're going to take a break here in a minute. When we come back, we're going to continue this very inspirational man who at one time had the #1 Century 21 office in the world. He's still in the top 5, ladies and gentlemen. If you're thinking about a career change, which everybody does in January, February, and March, we're going to take the last few minutes of this show and talk about something that you and John are working on. But we'll continue the story when we come right back on At Home with Charlene. Don't go anywhere.
The city of Santa Clarita has so much going on this year. Be on the lookout for amazing events happening throughout the year, including the Cowboy Festival, concerts in the park, Thursdays at New Hall, and the Santa Clarita Marathon. There are also a number of fun activities and things to do year-round, including outdoor recreation, hiking and bike trails, adult classes, art exhibits, youth sports programs, and more. You can even sign up to be a volunteer. Learn more at santa-clarita.com.
Men, are you feeling tired, stressed, or just don't have the energy you used to? Did you know this could be related to decreased testosterone levels? Luckily, there's a safe, effective solution. Weeder Prime helps support healthy testosterone levels with clinically tested key ingredients. Just 2 capsules of Weeder Prime each day can help change your mood, energy, focus, body fat, and lean muscle. Feel the way you felt 10, 20, even 30 years ago. Rediscover your Prime with Weeder Prime. To find a retailer near you, visit WeederPrime.com. That's WEIDER Prime.com.
With Facey Medical Group, good health is within your reach. Our doctors provide Santa Clarita's finest primary and specialist care at 4 convenient Santa Clarita locations. If you're looking for connected, convenient, personal care, there's no better place. We accept most health insurance, including plans offered through Covered California. Call 1-844-MY-FACEY for more information or to schedule an appointment.
A royal suite A Royal Suite Home Furnishings is celebrating its 41st President's Day sale with the lowest prices ever. Now through February 28th, a 3-piece queen bed, only $148. Or a 5-piece queen bedroom set with bed, dresser, and nightstand, just $388. A beautiful 5-piece sectional, only $1198. Bedroom sets from $799. And foam mattresses on sale. Hurry, limited stock only. Plus 48 months financing, no interest on approved credit. A Royal Suite Home Furnishings in Centerpoint across from Sam's Club or at aroyalsuite.com.
A Royal Suite.
Sweet dreams.
It's never been so easy to have a great night out. Whether it's a date night or girls' night out, experience Pinot's Palette in Valencia or Encino. Order your favorite drink from the bar and paint your very own masterpiece. No art experience needed. Local artists make it easy for you. So you can paint, sip, and listen to great music while creating a one-of-a-kind masterpiece. Fun, relaxing, and memorable. Pinot's Palette. To book your party, go to pinotspalette.com. That's pinotspalette.com.
If you're in danger of losing your home to foreclosure, you need an expert. Hi, I'm Rich Sherman with Alta Realty. I've helped hundreds of Santa Clarita residents save their homes completely for free. I've got just over 20 years experience and a loan modification success rate of over 80%. I can negotiate better terms with your bank and I can save your home from foreclosure. And again, we do this completely for free. So if you're in any danger, please call me today at 661-714-1400. That number again is 661-714-1400. I'm Rich Sherman with Alta Realty, and I'll be happy to help you save your home for free.
John Syatt is, you're going to get to know him. We'll have him back many times, I'm hoping.
Absolutely.
You can, if you've been listening, wow, his story, his life. You don't achieve the great success he's had without having something that's different, and we're going to find out what that difference is. He talked about in the first segment, Charlene Gill, the hostess with the mostess on that Home with Charlene. He grew up in a trailer. At age 13, he decided that he wanted to get a better vocabulary, that he knew that words were powerful. He decided to get – how did you decide to get on the debate team again?
Well,
were you a nerd?
I was actually. You know, it's interesting. You're very you're perceptive, or as they say,
but what's
perspicacious.
what's wrong with being a nerd?
I want to come back, and nerds control the world. I want to come back.
Right. That's what we all want to be.
You know, because
you look like an athlete.
Well, I guess I am now. I do train for our Spartan races. I run 2 to 3 of those a year, but really, the inner person is a nerd. I have to tell you, in high school, the truth is that I wore a tie and I carried a briefcase.
Get out of here.
I did.
In high school?
I did.
I didn't know that part.
And people would say, well, weren't you picked on? And you know what? I have to tell you, I wasn't. And the reason I wasn't is because I had at that point, it wasn't about mastering it, but understood the power of communication. And there wasn't a person in that school that I wasn't friends with, or they didn't know me and they didn't have respect for me, because I had reached out to them and communicated with them in a way that helped them to feel like they were part of something, that they belonged, that they were validated, that they were recognized. And so I was a popular nerd.
I think you were the guy they said was going to make themselves something in life.
I guess
right?
They probably said that.
They probably said that guy's going somewhere.
I'll let you say that, but
I bet you that's what they thought. You know, it's interesting. Just a quick little thing. My daughter told me, she goes, "Mom, there's this girl at school, and she dresses so cute." And I said, "Well, what makes it different?" She goes, "Because she's different. She wears something outside the box. She doesn't care what everybody else is doing." And I said, "I bet you she grows up and she's going to be a fashion designer. She's going to be somebody that has something like that later in life." And, you know, it's good to be different. It's good to be that person that sets themselves outside from everybody else.
Absolutely. In fact, what I would say is that, typically speaking, atypical is success. Doing what most people aren't willing to do leads to living a life that is exceptional. And being unique is a good thing. And it's unfortunate because with kids, there's the peer pressure to conform. And the problem with that is that it doesn't allow individuals to be individuals. And I think one of the most powerful things that we can be is ourself.
Well said. The show's called At Home with Charlene every Thursday. If you want to be entertained a little bit, educated a little bit, and informed a little bit, this is a great show. Charlene Gill is maybe the number one lady mortgage lady with CSMC Mortgage. Well, she is number one, but she may be the number one in Southern California, certainly number one in Santa Clarita. So if you're even thinking about a refi, because she's done literally thousands of them, she knows how to make it comfortable and hassle-free in doing a refi. So her number is 805-304-604. So, John, you get out of law school. Did you ever become a lawyer?
No. Well, in order to become an attorney, you have to have 3 years of law school. And then, of course, if you want to practice past the bar, I made it about a fifth of the way.
Got you. So tell us about how nobody starts in real estate at the top. How did you have this incredible career?
Well, so I think that life offers defining moments. You're at junctures where you have to decide which fork you're going to take. And I had finished that first year of law school, had been kindly invited to pursue other possibilities, and so I went back to Utah and asked myself the question, what could I do where I'd have an opportunity to talk with people and also earn a great income? And I concluded upon real estate, which is really ironic again, because I never really lived in a true brick and mortar home. I lived in homes that had axles and wheels and, tires, which camping for me is not quite the same as it is for others. For most people, camping is a trailer or a motorhome. For me, it's a bedroll on the dirt under the stars. Because otherwise, if I'm in a trailer, Coach Ron, it's like growing up at home. It's not the same thing.
You're funny. John Syatt. Sorry. Give me the name one more time.
Say it, Syatt, rhymes with diet.
Yeah, say it, Syatt, rhymes with diet.
That four-letter word.
At Home with Charlene every Thursday.
You know what the most interesting part that I wanted to know is how did the real estate career start for you? And I'm sure it started at some point. And how did you work to get to be number one? That's the question I always have for somebody who's been places that I haven't. What are you doing that other people aren't doing? What sets you aside from everybody else, because you're doing something different to get there?
I think it starts first of all with the willingness to accept the fact that in order to be successful, you first have to be willing to deal with challenge, to accept pain, that pain is going to be part of the process. It's interesting how we watch people in life who spend their days, their months, their years, their lives avoiding pain. And I have to tell you, my experience has been, because I've experienced a lot of pain, probably no more than any individual, but I've experienced a lot of pain, and I've had the opportunity either to interpret it as a negative thing or a positive thing. And there was a point in my life where, fortunately, I reprogrammed my mind to deal with pain in a positive way, to really accept it and use it as an opportunity to learn. So there I was, being forced to choose to do something other than I thought that I wanted to do, and I concluded upon real estate. And I remember passing the real estate exam and being affiliated with my first brokerage. I remember the broker saying to me, John, congratulations, because you are the first rookie that we've hired in our 33 years of business. And I was feeling pretty good about myself, Charlene, because this was a very highly successful office that had the highest producing agents in the marketplace, where we were representing people who were very wealthy, estate homes, homes that were $20, $30, $40 million. That's a lot of money in the Salt Lake market. And I remember him saying that to me. Well, a year later, they were out of business. So my claim to fame is that I put them out of business. But I remember that first year, I said to myself, I'm going to make $130,000. And this was in 1993. If I were to take the first 4 years' income, add it together, that total income would not have equaled half of that $130,000 that I was expecting to earn.
Wow. Our guest, John Syatt, you figure out last names are important. You got to get them right. And so this is how the little tricks that I do.
Like it.
John Syatt. Century 21. So take us from putting that company out of business, where you did well, to getting involved in Century 21. I say I wish. I guess I've done all right. I've got $20 saved up now. But the real estate industry is such a great industry, because when you look at one's life, it's the biggest investment you're going to make. It's your home. It's where you raise your family. And people that are in the real estate business can change lives, can't they, John?
We can, and I think that we do. We have an opportunity. We're blessed with the opportunity to help people live the American dream. And there are many things that we could say would consist of the American dream, but I think the cornerstone of the American dream is the ability to own your own home. you look at the world and the lack of opportunity in that regard, or even the right to be able to do that. We're so fortunate in this country to have that right and then to have the opportunity to do it. And the impact that that can have on families, on children, and a nation, it's amazing. There's a reason that as a country we have achieved what we have, and I think that is owed in large part to the fact that we recognize the importance of home ownership. So
Who would you get a mortgage? Honestly, if you were going to get a mortgage, who would you get it from?
Well, I'd get it from Charlene at CSMC.
Charlene Gill at CSMC Mortgage. So let's go back to some. I'm taking notes here. I hope you are too, ladies and gentlemen. You listen to 98.1 on KHTS. And you can listen at hometownstation.com, the number one website, hometownstation.com, the number one website in all of Santa Clarita Valley. And we have the best radio app. You should download this right now, John Sayet, the best radio app in the country. I'm not exaggerating. Just go to the App Store, put in KHTS 1220 AM. You can take our show, listen when you go back to Utah. You can listen every Thursday at 2. We'll give you a plug. But you said something that is so profound. I know that I've fought this all my life. I avoid pain. I don't want to go to the dentist. But it's emotional pain. Let's talk about this for a second, because this could be a game changer for one of our listeners. Avoiding pain is something that we all struggle with. How did you overcome this, or did you?
Well, I had somebody ask me that question recently, in fact, Coach Ron. They said, does that pain ever go away? Does that fear ever go away? Because when we say pain, normally in most people's lives, translate that into fear. Right? Mm-hmm. Whether it's a fear of change, it's a fear of a job, a fear of a responsibility, the fear of public speaking, the fear of talking to other people. Whatever the fear is, the fear of the answer that we're going to get from a doctor on a test that we had to go in to have taken. Fear. Most people allow themselves to be motivated by one of two emotions, either fear or love. And I got to a point in my life where I recognized that in large part I was letting myself be directed by the emotion of fear. And because of that, I was not achieving the things that I wanted to. And for whatever reason, I recognized that, and I began to connect with the idea of, one, accepting pain, accepting that fear as a part of my life, but not letting it control me. Because this is what I believe. Life is a dance with two emotions, love and fear. And we can choose which one we're going to dance with. They're both going to be there. They're always going to be there. But the question is, which one are we going to dance with, and which one are we going to let control us?
It's interesting you say that, because I'm starting to love my dentist. I mean, I'm really starting to open up my mind and say my dentist is a good human being, a good person, and I like him. I'm going to get to love at some point, but I'm teasing, but
you're a better man than I am.
Well, this is a lifelong battle.
But what happens is, I think you get this anxiety over it. I have to go to the dentist tomorrow at 8, and you're revving yourself up that it's going to be terrible and horrible, and the experience itself is going to be just this ungrateful, just a terrible situation. And you get there, and you're thinking, oh, I'm done. That 45 minutes, an hour, whatever it is, it wasn't as bad as you thought. So I think we put in our mind a fear and an anxiety situated to that fear. And when we get done with the task, we realize, what were we afraid of?
That's right. And here's practically, if I could share anything with your audience that they could practically take with them to actually use to make a difference, to not be controlled by fear, would be this. What I've discovered is that fear and gratitude do not coexist. There are those in the world who don't have access to health care. There are those in the world who don't have an opportunity to have an abscessed tooth fixed. We have that opportunity here. So starting with the emotion of gratitude will snuff out fear. This is what I've discovered. Fear and gratitude cannot coexist. If we truly have absolute 100% gratitude, there is no space for fear. That's what I've discovered.
Well, I know you're working on your book. I'm going to help you with your book. We need a cool title. His name is John Sayet. Now we're going to talk about, because he owns a Century 21, at one time number 1 in the world, still in the top 5 in the United States. How do you take a real estate, I don't care what name is, Century 21, with thousands of real estate offices and achieve such success? What is it? I need the secret sauce.
Well, so
I want to bottle it.
Here's the answer, and it's not a secret. Success has rules, and I don't think that there is any rule of success that we're not familiar with. We just have a tendency to want to violate the rules. It's like playing a game of basketball. We know that we're supposed to dribble the ball, but if we pick up the ball and try to carry it like a football, we're going to get called for a travel, and we're going to lose possession of the ball. And a lot of people lose possession of the ball because they violate the rules. So it was 2009, and I had just gone through a decade of extreme financial success. I remember calling up my now business partner, George Morris, in 2008 and sharing with him a quick story. I said, George, I've only shared this with two people, my parents and now you, and I don't intend to share it with anybody else because it's not about bragging, but I have achieved something that I have had as a goal since the age of 13. I said, I now have $1 million in the bank. And he said, of course, congratulations to me. And I said, it's not about the money, it's the fact that I've been able to achieve this goal, and now what I'm going to have the opportunity to do. Well, unfortunately, 18 months later, what I had accumulated aside from that $1 million, including the $1 million, dissipated nearly overnight because of the financial collapse that we all experienced at that time. So it was at that point that George asked me, he said, well, what do you think about starting a real estate brokerage, just the two of us? And I looked at him, Charlene, and I said, if anybody else asked me that question, I would say you're absolutely insane. But I said, knowing you, knowing your principles, your values, knowing that we're best friends, and had at that point been best friends for 16 years, I said, let's do it. So we started the company at ground zero. There were 5 of us in the room when we first started, and today we have an organization of 1,200 people that spans 2 states, California and Utah. And how is that possible? Well, it comes down to a few things. I remember what it was like for me in those first 4 years in this business of real estate. And I remember how difficult it was. So George and I agreed that the focus that we were going to have in this company was not going to be on money, it was going to be on people. And what I mean by that is this. We have to build an organization that allows people to develop personally. We have to be focused on personal development. So it wasn't about developing people's business, it was about developing the person. And we knew if we developed the person, that their business as a byproduct would flourish. It's like, I like to use this analogy. Imagine if we had an apple orchard, and if we wanted those apple trees to be more fruitful, we wouldn't spend time nurturing the leaves. We wouldn't water the leaves. We wouldn't fertilize the leaves. What we would do, we would nurture, we would water and fertilize the roots. And that as we do that, the trunk becomes stronger, the branches become stronger, and the leaves, of course, become stronger, and the tree bears more fruit. Well, the same is true of an individual. If I don't care what it is that they do for a job, if they will focus on themselves, on the roots of who they are, their philosophies, their standards, their mindset, very important. What they think about on a daily basis, the thoughts that they have. It's interesting, the average person has 60,000 thoughts every day, and the vast majority of those thoughts are subconscious and they're negative. So if we can focus on the roots of who we are, control that positively, we'll be able to get much better results than we've ever gotten. And that has been the philosophy of the company.
Name is John Syatt, ladies and gentlemen, Century 21. If you're interested in even talking about a career change, if you thought about real estate, if you thought about going from where you are now to having the kind of winning life you've always wanted to have, this is a man you want to be with. I mean, you can hear his voice and his story. And all you have to do is remember this number. Here's the number, 805-304-604. 304-604-805. Charlene will put you in touch with John Syatt. He has a staff of 500 that screens who he's going to talk to, so you're going to have to figure out how, Charlene will help you navigate the 500 people you got to go to talk to him. But it'll be worth it when you get there. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back, and I'm going to try to get some more of the magic sauce out of this man. Hopefully we'll have him back in the next month, Charlene, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll do little segments here.
CSMC Mortgage, remember that name? Or remember Charlene Gill? What's easier for you, Cody? Charlene Gill or CSMC Mortgage? What's easier for you?
Honestly, they both work. I guess if I'm trying to think of it in the frame of mortgage, CSMC Mortgage helps because right in the name.
You're not going to remember Charlene Gill?
Of course they will, but I'm not
Yeah,
remember
all the
exactly
training
where.
I've done with you.
It's the C's.
I don't think you can forget Charlene.
No. Well, once you meet her, you're not going to forget her. And if you go to Facebook, we're on Facebook Live right now, KHTS 1220 or 98.1. We'll be right back. We're going to finish the story. We're probably going to continue the story this year. We'll have John back many times. At Home with Charlene every Thursday. Be right back.
Move on from what's familiar and discover what's possible in your relationships. This is Jasmine Urbina, inviting you to tune in to The Inspirational Parent as my dad and I tap into a fresh perspective on modern parenting relationships and dish out the magical ingredients for effective parenting exclusively on KHTS. Catch us live every Friday on The Inspirational Parent from 12 to 1 or download our podcast at hometownstation.com.
Something big is coming to Castaic.
Is it a dinosaur, Bob?
No, Blanche.
Is it the 2020 Olympics?
No.
I know. We're finally hosting the World Cup.
No, silly. They're building Castaic High.
Bob, no way.
Way. Go visit CastaicHighProject.com. You'll get all the latest details.
What's that web address again, Bob?
CastaicHighProject.com.
Again?
CastaicHighProject.com.
Bigger than a dinosaur?
That's right. CastaicHighProject.com. Buying your home can sometimes be challenging. That's why Charlene Gill with CSMC Mortgage is your Santa Clarita mortgage expert. What's important to you is to secure a loan at the best possible rate, to have a professional guide you through the process, and to close on time. Charlene's 23 years in the mortgage industry and her personal expert knowledge in the Santa Clarita Valley makes her your mortgage expert. Contact Charlene at hometownstation.com/Charlene. That's hometownstation.com/Charlene.
California Credit Union, the only credit union in Santa Clarita focused on our educational community. California Credit Union offers low rates on loans for personal and business services, along with financial services for teachers, students, staff, and families. Free checking and very low new and used auto loan rates.
California Credit Union, your personal credit union, located in the River Oak Shopping Center next to Target.
Visit us and open an account today. Insured by NCUA, an agency of the federal government.
Finding the right lawyer can be a challenge, but in Santa Clarita, there's no need to search when there's Hacker Law Group, Santa Clarita's premier litigation firm. Jeffrey Hacker has represented celebrities, financial institutions, accident victims, real estate developers, realtors, contractors, businesses, nonprofit organizations, and other individuals and companies with their legal challenges. Mr. Hacker is one of Santa Clarita's leaders, consistently listed as one of our most influential. When everything is on the line and you need legal counseling, visit hackerlawgroup.com.
At Jersey Mike's, we think there's a whole lot of wow to be found between 2 layers of fresh baked bread. Like, wow, this sub sandwich sure has a little something something special. And wow, Juice does for sub sandwiches what spinach does for a certain well-known sailor man. Because we never just make a sub. Every sub we make is a sub above. Jersey Mike's, be a sub above.
Your Santa Clarita Jersey Mike's, a proud sponsor of Santa Clarita Sports.
You're listening to KHTS 1220 live with At Home with Charlene and my guests, Coach Ron and John Syatt. And we've just had a great show today. I mean, all the questions that I think we always want to ask in a show, we don't even get to more than 2 or 3 of them because we expand on those in such a broad way that we just wrap up our time so quickly. But I really do want all the listeners to pay close attention to something that John is launching. And I want everyone to take benefit of this. It is called the Summit to Success. Century 21 Troop Real Estate in Valencia is going to be running this from March through May. So every Wednesday from 12 to 1. So everyone can take it on their lunch hour. No, it doesn't matter where you are. If you're an existing real estate agent, if you are thinking about becoming a real estate agent, if you just want to come for personal development, whatever it may be, we're doing... Century 21 Troop is putting on a 13-week personal development success summit. And I just think it is going to be, it's going to be great because we're going to have exactly what we had today in 13 weeks. So to become personally developed, to become personally successful, to recognize, your weaknesses and turn those into strengths, to become solid at your business, to really take a turn. Maybe you feel like you're a little bit in the rut, or, you don't feel that you have the ability to achieve what it is that you ultimately can. You should join these 1 hours every Wednesday, because
what time?
From 12 to 1.
Location, is there food involved? I'll be there if there's food involved.
Locations still to be determined, but I just think it's a great event, and I can't express enough how this is going to help everybody. And it's going to help everybody in their career path. It's going to help everybody currently. And you don't know what you need to fix until you realize what you personally might need to change.
Why don't we call it Lunch with Charlene and John? Keep it simple. Or Lunch with Charlene. John doesn't even have to be involved other than being the speaker every week.
Well, John's really the one running it. I'm just the one saying this is a great thing to go to.
And the truth is, you put an X on the floor, John stand here, and then, then it happens.
Yeah.
But you're the one doing all the work.
But you know what, though? I just think there's something to be said when you have somebody who's going to mentor you, or somebody that's going to drive a message who comes from a position of success. Because...
Well, who's climbed the mountain?
Absolutely.
If you go and climb, you're a climber too, so you know this. If you go and climb the tallest mountain in the world, you have to pay a guide $10,000 to $30,000 to climb the mountain.
But you want to be able to relate. You want to be able to say, I see your struggles, and I've had similar struggles.
Yes.
Or I've had, they might not be the exact same, but in some point in life, maybe I had something that kept me from achieving what I thought I could. And it's not just me, but it's everybody listening. There's doubt that we have in our mind daily. And there's things that we prevent half of our own reasons why we're not doing what we should be doing. Half of the reason why we're not succeeding is because we tell ourselves we can't. And I just think that 13 week of driving that powerful message of you can do it, you can succeed, you can make a difference, and you can do all these things. And it's really going to help people mentally, physically, and it's going to help their profession.
March 7th.
We're going to start March 7th.
Lunch with Charlene. You are bringing in food, right? Lunch with Charlene.
We'll have food. If they want to have food, we'll bring food.
Cody, we got to have food.
Of
right?
course, yeah.
You'll come, right?
I'm always have this food.
Yeah, bring all your millennials. Let's go. This is for anybody that wants to improve their life.
Absolutely.
We're not selling anything.
Yeah.
This is John Sayet saying he's giving back.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you want to hear from somebody who has struggled and who has made it, because that gives you that reassurance you can do it too.
Started in a 9x16 trailer, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep, my mom started out there too.
You just added a foot to the width. It was actually 8. See,
8?
look at you. You're like a real estate agent. You're exaggerating.
Hey, I'm in sales, buddy. I'm in sales. I gave you an extra foot. John Sayet. So we got like 2 minutes left.
Okay.
Leave us with, look, our country is, I told somebody this morning on my Facebook, God is crying too. Mm-hmm. But, this country is the most fabulous country in the history of mankind. Where we live, we're blessed to be living in Southern California. If you're healthy and you're not in a wheelchair, you have your wits about you. Leave us with something, John, that we can take with us.
Okay. It makes me think of this, whether it's an old adage or just this bit of advice that I've heard said from many people throughout history. It's not an issue of what happens to us that matters. It's an issue of how we respond to it. There are many things in life that happen that we cannot control. We can't control ultimately what the weather looks like. We can't control whether this particular person or that person is in the White House or outside of the White House. Generally speaking, there are things in life we can't determine what the interest rates are, mm-hmm. right? There are things that we can't determine in life. That's fine. What we need to recognize is the most important thing that we can control is how we respond to those things. It's ultimately about taking control of our actions. Here's a very important formula that I learned many years ago that I've tried to implement in my life. Our thoughts that we hold lead to the emotions that we experience. And those emotions that we experience then lead to the actions that we take. And our actions that we take lead to the results that we get. So if we don't like the results that we're getting, if we don't like our surroundings, what our life looks like today, it really is a very simple thing. Start with what we're focusing on. If we will change on a daily basis, on a minute-by-minute basis, the things that we're willing to focus on, I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, you'll be able to move mountains. You'll be able to change the challenges in your life and turn them into opportunities. I think about the number of times in my life where I thought that I was a victim, that poor me, little old me, and then to change my mindset, to become grateful, and to really look at it as an opportunity to learn and to grow, to change the way I think, to change my emotions, and to change my actions, and therefore change my outcomes. And it's been a blessing in my life.
What a wonderful thought. Change what you focus on. So if you're focused on the big party Friday night and you've got homework for Monday, or if you're focused on something that doesn't benefit you and your family, you can change your focus. You're listening to At Home with Charlene every Thursday at 2 o'clock. March the 7th, that's the first date.
First date.
Of meeting John and you.
Absolutely.
I'm calling it at lunch with Charlene. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to talk him into food, okay? I don't know what it's going to be. Jersey Mike's is our big sponsor, as you know.
Well, maybe Jersey Mike's will supply some sandwiches for us.
Yeah, maybe. We'll get Cody's generation to come March 7th at noon, right?
Yes.
That would be awesome.
And to have lunch with the two of you, inspiring people.
Well, this is going to be a big grouped event, and this is going to be it's supposed to be a powerful event for personal growth, personal development, and really, I think if everyone just changes one thing that they're doing that isn't getting a positive result, just one thing, and they see that little change is being made, it'll create them to change 2 things, 3 things, and then pretty soon there's a whole mindset shift and a whole positive reinforcement's going to start happening. And I think that's what this seminar is going to do. It's going to change, it's going to shift, and people are going to benefit from it.
March 7th at noon.
March 7th.
And we're going to get a cool location, something.
Yep.
I'm working on something right now. I'll tell you when we're off the air. I've got an idea.
All right.
March 7th. Put March 7th down.
12 to 1.
You get to meet Charlene Gill. You get to meet John Sayette. And it could be one of those days. I'm not exaggerating. Sometimes you might have listened to the show today for an hour. Sometimes one thing that John said literally can change your life. That's the way this show is every Thursday at 2 o'clock. CSMC Mortgage, where you can remember CSMC Mortgage or Charlene Gill. It's your choice, Cody. Which way are you going on this?
I guess Charlene Gill, right? That's the correct answer.
Yeah.
We have him so messed up
Cody.
over here. He doesn't know what to say anymore.
CSMC. John Sayette, thank you, man.
Thanks, John.
What a
pleasure.
Honor to meet you, man. I've taken notes. I'm taking these notes home.
I've never seen you take so many sticky notes.
Well, we have great guests every week, I'll tell you that.
Yes.
But this is one of the best guests we've had this year. He'll be back in a month, too. Maybe March.
Yeah.
March 7th is a Wednesday.
March 7th is the 7th. We're going to kick off the show. I'll probably remind everybody coming in a show or 2 before so that everyone takes advantage of that. We'll give out the location and we'll post the information maybe on the KHTS website as well.
Madison listening today?
I don't know. She could be.
Hey, girl, what are you doing? Do your homework tonight. Don't argue with your parents.
Yep, she's got Friday and Monday off, so I'm pretty sure homework isn't on the top of the list right now.
Next week, we have a guest that if I gave you the name, if I told you who it was, you'd go, you got to be kidding me. How does Charlene Gill get these guests? You got to put 2 o'clock next Thursday down on your calendar. This guest, like today's guest, will have such a profound effect on your life. Anyway, make an appointment, 2 o'clock next Thursday. Don't be late. You got to be here at 2 o'clock. Don't be late on 98.FM. 98.1. I got it.
You forgot
Cody.
that one there.
90. All right. 98.
98.1.
All right. Thank you,
There you
Charlene
go.
Gill. Thank you, John.
Thanks,
Sayette.
John.
Thank you. You bet.
All right.
My
Have a
pleasure.
good one, everyone.